This is for the soul that knows the rhythm of weariness like the beat of its own heart, for the spirit that rises each morning with cracked bones and trembling hope, not because it is rested, but because it remembers a promise whispered in the dark. There is a quiet power in those who walk forward on sore feet, not because the way is easy, but because the voice of God still echoes louder than the noise of doubt. You who sit in silence after the world has gone to sleep, whispering prayers that feel smaller than your pain, this is for you. You whose hands have lifted others for so long that your own arms now ache, you are not forgotten. You are not invisible. The heavens bend low to listen when you cry, and even if the answers seem long in coming, your name is known in places where eternity speaks and angels stand watch. You may not shout your faith from rooftops. Perhaps yours is the kind of trust that breathes in and out like the wind, constant, gentle, unseen, but unmistakably there. Perhaps you do not speak of miracles often because you are waiting for one, and yet you have become a living miracle yourself. The way you rise, the way you keep believing, the way you smile, even when your heart is heavy as stone, this is holy ground. There is nothing weak about being tired. There is no shame in saying, I don't know how much longer I can do this. The weariness of a soul does not mean defeat. It means you've been fighting. It means you've stayed when others have gone. It means you've planted seeds in dry soil and waited for rain that never came, but still looked up each morning expecting clouds to form. Oh, how sacred is that kind of hope. Some days you may feel like a single candle flickering against a howling wind, but a single flame, even trembling, still burns, still gives light, still warms. And that flame, your flame, is seen by the Almighty. The God who created the oceans and painted galaxies knows your name, feels your struggle, hears your whispered prayers in the middle of the night when the house is quiet and your doubts speak the loudest. There are seasons when faith feels like climbing a mountain with no summit in sight. Each step a labor, each breath a battle, and still you walk. Still you press forward. That is courage. Not the absence of fear, not the lack of despair, but the choice to keep believing when nothing around you looks like a promise fulfilled. You have cried. Oh, yes, you have. Your tears have watered the pillow, the floor beneath your feet, the altar where you lay your dreams and ask, why not yet? But hear this now, beloved soul, your tears are not wasted, not a single one. They are counted, stored, remembered. They are prayers in liquid form, language that heaven understands with perfect fluency. God is not indifferent to your tears. He is collecting them in vessels of mercy. You may be tired, but you are not alone. There are others walking beside you, even if unseen. There are hearts beating in rhythm with yours, saints and warriors who know the ache of waiting and the sting of unanswered prayers. Some are walking the same road, others have walked it before and now stand on the other side, singing songs of deliverance you've not yet heard. There are promises written over your life that have not expired, no matter how many calendars you've turned. The delays have not canceled your destiny. They are shaping you, forming you, hollowing out space for something greater than you imagine. Trust does not mean you will never question. Trust means you'll keep walking even with the questions. It means you'll say, I don't understand, and still put one foot in front of the other. When the world tells you that you should give up, that the silence means abandonment, that delay means denial, lift your chin a little higher. Remember whose you are. Remember who walked on water and calmed storms with a word. Remember the one who weeps with those who weep and rejoices with those who rejoice. Remember the one who does not tire, who does not slumber, who is near to the brokenhearted. Let the tired parts of you lean into the everlasting arms. You don't have to carry it all. You were never meant to. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is rest. Not give up, but rest. Rest in knowing that God is still working. Even when you can't see the progress, even when you feel like you're standing still, things are moving in the unseen. There are roots growing beneath the soil of your soul. You can't see them, but one day the bloom will come and it will be glorious. This journey is not about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about grace upon grace. You may fall, but you rise again. You may doubt, but still you pray. You may ache, but still you love. You may question, but still you believe. And every time you do, you testify to a faith that is alive, even when it limps. To the tired soul still trusting God, Do not let the weight of today make you forget the strength you've already shown. You have survived storms that tried to bury you. You have faced darkness and still found a way to light a candle. You have prayed prayers with shaking hands and broken voices and still believed they would rise like incense. That is strength. That is bravery. There is no timeline for healing, no schedule for breakthrough. Do not let anyone rush your process. What you are walking through is sacred. Every hard-earned moment of belief is writing a story in the spirit realm that is louder than any song of despair. You are becoming something unshakable, not because life has been easy, but because you've chosen to believe in the goodness of God even when life has not felt good. You have heard silence and still chosen worship. You have seen doors closed and still knocked. You have felt forgotten and still loved. There is no glory greater than this. Faith forged in fire, hope that chooses to rise from ashes, joy that is reborn after sorrow. These are the treasures hidden in the heart of those who keep trusting. Don't let the enemy convince you that your fatigue is failure. Don't believe the lie that says tired means done. Tired means human. Tired means you've given yourself to something bigger than you. And in the end, when the breakthrough comes, and it will, you will look back on this season and realize that even here, even in the wilderness, God was with you. Not only with you, but carrying you. Sometimes he parts the sea. Other times he walks beside you through it. And other times still, he teaches you to float when you feel like drowning. Every way, every time, he is faithful. Even when your faith wavers, his does not. Even when your grip loosens, his hold does not slip. Trust isn't about how strong you feel. It's about who you believe is holding you. Let your tired soul breathe. Breathe deep. Let grace wrap itself around you like a warm blanket. You are not disqualified. You are not forgotten. You are not failing. You are growing, becoming, persevering. And that, my dear, is a sacred thing. So rise again, not in the strength of your flesh, but in the quiet courage of your soul. Rise because you are not alone. Rise because there is still purpose in your pulse. Rise because God is not finished yet. And even when all you can do is whisper, I'm still here, heaven shouts in response, so am I. This is not the end of your story. It is a chapter of grit, grace, and sacred waiting. Let it unfold. Let yourself be tired, but don't let go of trust, even here, especially here. Because sometimes the most beautiful acts of faith are born not on mountaintops, but in valleys. Not in shouts, but in whispers. Not in answers, but in the questions that still lead you to believe. You are the evidence that faith lives, that love still wins, that even the tired soul can burn with holy fire, and that, yes, that is enough. There are days when your spirit feels like it's wrapped in fog, thick, slow-moving, quiet. You may move through life fulfilling responsibilities, showing up for others, even managing a smile when necessary, but inside, you feel like a passenger in your own story. You may wonder if God still hears, if your prayers haven't gone hoarse from repetition. And yet, beneath that fatigue, buried under the dust of waiting, still lives a flicker of hope, still lives trust, a trust not born of perfect understanding, but a trust that grew out of survival. Faith built brick by brick, through pain, through perseverance, through long nights when you did not break, even though everything said you should have. You are not weak because you are weary. You are not less spiritual because you feel exhausted. Even the Savior of the world knew what it meant to grow tired, to seek solitude, to weep. There is divine empathy for the soul who stays when walking away might be easier. The strength you carry does not roar like a lion. It hums like the earth beneath our feet, ancient, enduring, unseen, yet holding everything together. You may not recognize it in yourself, but heaven sees it. Heaven honors it. Every breath you take in defiance of despair is a victory. Every time you choose to speak life over your situation, even when your voice trembles, you are declaring that God is greater than your circumstance. And that declaration shakes walls in the unseen. You think you are merely surviving, but in truth you are conquering. Not with swords or grand gestures, but with the quiet courage of still showing up, of still bowing your head in prayer when it feels like no one is listening, of still opening your eyes to a new morning even when the night stretched endlessly. The tired soul is often the most faithful, not because it feels holy, but because it chooses holiness even when it doesn't feel like enough. It walks in obedience not because it sees the reward, but because it trusts the one who promised. That kind of faith doesn't always look pretty. It's messy. It has questions. It has doubts. It stumbles and falls. But it gets up again and again. It shows up when the feeling is gone. It praises through the pain. It hopes with empty hands. And in this world that moves fast and values the loud and the obvious, the quiet endurance of a tired soul is one of the purest acts of worship. To love God not for what he gives, but simply because he is good, even when life isn't. To trust him not because all the prayers have been answered, but because you've seen enough to believe that he is still worthy. That is the gold that cannot be tarnished. That is the song that rises from ashes. Sometimes it's not that your faith is broken, but that it's being refined. Fire never destroys gold, it purifies it. The heat you feel, the weight, the stretching, it's not a sign of God's absence, but his presence. He is doing something deeper, something more eternal than your eyes can see. He is growing your roots when you long to see the fruit. He is building endurance in your soul when you only want relief. But one day, perhaps not today, you will see why this moment mattered. You will see what he was protecting you from, what he was preparing you for. There is a kind of peace that does not depend on the outcome. It doesn't come from things working out your way or from understanding every detail. It comes from knowing who walks with you. You may not know what tomorrow holds, but you know who holds it. And that is enough. That is more than enough. So even when your heart breaks with disappointment, even when the delay makes you question everything, lean in. Lean into the one who does not change, who does not falter, who is not moved by time or circumstance. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And when your mind spirals with what ifs and whys, let your soul respond with this one truth. He is still God, still good, still faithful. Even now, especially now, there is more being written than you can comprehend. Your life is not on pause. It is unfolding in purpose, even in this place. The stillness, the silence, it's not void, it's sacred space. God speaks in whispers and in winds, in thunder and in silence. Just because it's quiet does not mean he's gone. Just because it's hard does not mean he's punishing you. You are not forgotten. You are being held. What if the waiting was never meant to weaken you, but to strengthen what cannot be shaken? What if the delay is not a detour, but divine timing? We are so used to fast answers, quick relief, instant results. But the most valuable things grow slowly. Trees that stand for centuries take years to root. Diamonds are formed under pressure, hidden in darkness. Don't despise your season of hiddenness. There is something in you being formed that cannot be undone by a change of circumstance. Even now, in your fatigue, in your longing, you are reflecting God's strength. You are a testimony, not of perfection, but of persistence, not of ease, but of endurance, not of answers, but of faith. And that is the gospel lived out in flesh and bone, in real time, in real pain, in real hope. You are proof that the light still shines in darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Don't let the voice of discouragement convince you that your prayers have disappeared into the void. Don't believe the thought that says you're too tired to matter, too worn down to make a difference. Every time you whisper his name through gritted teeth, every time you choose love over bitterness, every time you hold on when everything inside wants to let go, you are moving heaven. You are stirring the atmosphere. You are walking in divine alignment, even if your steps feel unsure. God's promises are not fragile. They do not expire. They are not dependent on your feelings. They are not undone by your moments of doubt. You are allowed to feel weary. You are allowed to question. But let the foundation of your trust be this: he has never failed. He did not bring you this far to leave you now. He saw the end from the beginning and still chose you. That alone is enough to rest in. So, if all you can do today is breathe, then breathe. Let that be your worship. Let that be your act of trust. Breathe in grace. Breathe out fear. You don't need to have all the answers. You only need to be still enough to know that you are loved. Even in your weariness, especially in your weariness, you are not falling behind. You are not less than. You are walking your path at the pace of grace. There is a crown waiting, yes, but there is also beauty here in the middle, in the waiting room, in the tension, in the longing. Let yourself feel the fullness of the moment without shame. Let the tears fall if they must. Let the questions rise, but do not let go of hope. Let it be your anchor. Let it hold you when everything else feels like shifting sand. This story you're living, it's still being written. There are pages yet to be turned, songs yet to be sung, victories yet to be won. You are not stuck. You are being shaped. And though it may feel like a wilderness now, there is a promised land on the horizon. It may not look like what you expected, but it will be worth the journey. You will look back and see that the path you walked, painful and powerful, led you to something sacred, something eternal. So don't rush past this moment. Don't silence your weary heart. Listen to it. Hold space for it. Let it speak and be heard. And then gently remind it, we are still trusting. We are still here. And we are still believing. Not because everything makes sense, but because we know the one who holds all things together. Even when the waiting stretches you thin, even when the night is long and sleep won't come, remember this. Your faith is not small. It is deep. It is ancient. It is rooted in something unshakable. It has carried you through battles no one else has seen. It has held you upright when nothing else could. And it will carry you through this too. One day, the very things that now weigh you down will become the testimony that lifts someone else. One day, you will speak of this valley and say, I've been there, he was with me. And it will not be bitter in your mouth, it will be sweet, because you will have seen the goodness of the Lord, not only in the land of the living, but in the land of the tired, the tried, the torn. And that goodness will be your banner. So hold on, soul. Rest if you must. Cry if you need. But don't give up. Don't turn back. You are closer than you know. And the God who began this work in you is not finished yet. He is not in a hurry, but he is never late. He is with you in the waiting. He is holding every piece of your heart that you thought had broken beyond repair. He is writing beauty into your ashes. You are tired, yes, but you are trusting. And that alone makes you unstoppable. There are moments when the soul grows quiet, not from peace, but from exhaustion. You no longer ask for answers, not because you found them, but because you've grown too weary to keep demanding. You stop questioning the delay, not because you've made peace with it, but because your voice has grown hoarse with hope. And still, in that sacred silence, trust remains. It lingers like a slow heartbeat, steady and faithful, even when your body slouches from carrying burdens you never thought you'd have to bear. There's a resilience in you that even you don't fully recognize, a holy kind of grit, a grace that stands even when all logic says it should have collapsed. You've tasted disappointment like ash on your tongue, swallowed back tears while the world around you moved on untouched. You've watched others receive what you prayed for. You've smiled at their joy while your own heart quietly shattered under the weight of delay. You've clapped for breakthroughs while nursing wounds that haven't healed. And yet, you do not envy, you do not curse, you bless, you keep believing. That's not weakness. That's strength forged in the fire of deep spiritual maturity. That's the kind of faith heaven applauds, the kind that does not wait for evidence to remain loyal. There is something profound about a soul that doesn't demand the spotlight, that doesn't need applause or confirmation to continue. You, the quiet believer, the unseen prayer warrior, the one who has been passed over time and time again, you are seen. Your life is not hidden from the one who watches over sparrows and counts the hairs on your head. Every seed you've planted in the soil of obedience is being nourished in the dark even now. And just because the harvest hasn't broken through doesn't mean it's not coming. The soil must crack before the bloom, and you are closer than you think. Faith doesn't always look like shouting from mountaintops. Sometimes it looks like whispering, "Shekshot, I trust you," through clenched teeth when nothing feels right. Sometimes it looks like showing up to worship when your soul feels hollow, raising hands not out of triumph, but as a lifeline, like saying, I'm still here, Lord, even if I'm hanging on by a thread. There is beauty in that kind of resilience. There is a sacredness in the act of staying when leaving would be easier, in the quiet choice to believe when your heart is sore from longing. That is the heartbeat of heaven, echoing through your persistence. There is a strange holiness in the wait, in the in-between, where God seems silent. It is there that character is shaped, not on the mountaintops of answered prayers, but in the valley of shadows, where light feels distant and promises feel forgotten. It is there, in that tension, that your roots grow deep, deep enough to survive storms, deep enough to hold you when the winds howl with fear and uncertainty, deep enough to ensure that when the blessing comes, and it will, it won't destroy you. Because God is not merely preparing the promise for you, He's preparing you for the promise. You've seen others pass by with laughter, arms full of what you fasted for, and still you wait, still you serve, still you love. That is the kind of strength this world cannot manufacture. It is born in the quiet chambers of a heart that has chosen to anchor itself not in outcomes, but in identity. You do not serve a God of delays, but a God of divine timing. He is not playing games with your hope. He is not dangling answers like a cruel joke. Every not yet carries the full weight of heaven's wisdom. If you could see what he sees, you would not rush his hand. You would trust his timing even more. But it's okay to admit that sometimes it hurts. It's okay to say that the waiting feels like a wound that won't heal. You don't have to dress your faith in smiles. You don't have to pretend strength you don't feel. God is not put off by your honesty. He welcomes your rawness. He holds your broken pieces with gentleness, not judgment. The very thing you try to hide is what invites his nearness. He does not despise your weariness. He treasures it, because it means you're still holding on. You haven't walked away. And that kind of faith, tired, tear-streaked, imperfect, moves his heart like no polished prayer ever could. There is a divine exchange taking place even now. Your tears for his joy, your ashes for his beauty, your mourning for his comfort. And though it may not happen in an instant, though the healing may feel more like a slow sunrise than a lightning bolt, it will come, because he has never left a promise unfulfilled, not one, and he will not start with you. You are not the exception to his goodness. You are not the one he forgot. He is weaving something eternal into your life, and eternity takes time. Let yourself rest in the truth that you are still in the hands of a God who makes no mistakes. The story is not over just because you're in a chapter of struggle. There is a fullness being formed in you, a depth of compassion, a strength of character, a richness of spirit that could not have been birthed any other way. And while it hurts now, while it bruises your expectations and bends your knees, it will not be in vain. Your current sorrow is not the end of the story. It is the soil of the next miracle. You don't need to rush past the pain. You don't need to numb it or hide it. Let it teach you. Let it grow you. Let it lead you closer to the heart of the one who never wastes suffering. He bottles your tears. He walks beside you even when you cannot feel him. Sometimes he's the silence, but other times he's the strength that gets you out of bed, the peace that doesn't make sense, the grace that holds your anger without shame. God is not afraid of your shadows. He has already walked through them, carrying your soul in his hands. What if the tiredness isn't a sign of weakness, but a sign that you've been faithful in a hard place? What if the fatigue is evidence of how far you've come? You are still standing. You are still hoping. You are still believing. And that is something to honor, not hide. The weight you carry isn't visible to most, but that doesn't make it less real. It takes supernatural strength to carry what you've carried, to still choose love when bitterness would be easier, to still choose patience when frustration claws at your insides. But hear me, God sees, not in a distant, detached way. He sees with compassion. He sees with mercy. He sees with the tender eyes of a father who cannot take his gaze off his child. He is not disappointed in your tiredness. He understands it. He honors it. And even now, he is working behind the curtain of your life, aligning, orchestrating, healing. The breakthrough may not look the way you imagined. It may come quietly, it may come differently, but it will come. And when it does, you will know it was God and God alone who sustained you. There's a version of you emerging from this season that you haven't met yet. Stronger, wiser, more compassionate. A version of you who can sit with others in their sorrow and not rush to fix it because you've learned the sacredness of presence. A version of you who prays with more power, not because life has been easy, but because you've seen the valley and survived it. You are becoming a shelter for others because you've learned what it means to be held. Do not rush to the finish line. There is purpose even in the pauses. There is beauty even in the broken places. And you, precious soul, are not broken beyond repair. You are being reformed, reclaimed, redeemed. And in due time, what feels like loss now will bloom into a testimony of resilience, of grace, of holy endurance. You will say, I thought I was forgotten, but I was being formed. You will say, I thought I was delayed, but I was being prepared. You will say, I thought I was alone, but he was with me the entire time. So even now, as you battle weariness, as you drag your heart behind you like a heavy stone, know that you are not moving backward. You are not losing your way. You are learning to walk by faith and not by sight. You are learning that trust isn't about having all the answers. It's about staying close to the one who does. And if all you can offer today is a sigh, let it be a holy one. If all you can do is breathe, let your breath be a quiet hallelujah. If all you can manage is to close your eyes and whisper, "Still I believe," know that heaven bends low to hear it. That whisper is a weapon. That breath is a battle cry. That surrender is strength. Because this is not the end of your story. It is a holy pause. And even here, God is near. You don't need to pretend you're not struggling. You don't need to wear strength like a costume. Sometimes strength is simply the courage to be honest, to say, "Kada, I'm tired," and still show up for the day. To say, "Lord, I don't know if I can do this much longer," and still take another step. There is bravery in that kind of surrender. Not the kind the world recognizes, but the kind that moves mountains in the unseen. There is something sacred about the kind of resilience that whispers faith while the heart is still bleeding. Something eternal about the way your soul clings to God in silence, not because of what He's doing, but simply because of who He is. You see, trust doesn't always roar. It doesn't always feel like confidence. Sometimes it feels like aching. Sometimes it looks like broken hallelujahs and silent tears on the bathroom floor. But trust remains, quiet and unshaken beneath the noise of fear. Trust remains because somewhere deep in your spirit, deeper than your sorrow, deeper than your weariness, lives the memory of every time God came through, the memory of every door He opened when there was no way, the memory of how He held you when no one else knew you were falling apart. That memory is not just nostalgia, it's fuel. It's the thread that keeps you tethered to hope when everything else seems to be unraveling. You've been carrying questions that don't have easy answers. Why did this happen? Why is it taking so long? What did I do wrong? But beloved, the weight of your questions does not push God away. He welcomes them. He invites your honesty, not your perfection. You are not a burden in your doubt. You are not less faithful because you feel lost. What matters is that you bring those questions to Him, that you don't run away, but instead say, "Dear God, this is all I have today, my confusion, my exhaustion, my need." And He says, "That's enough. Give me what you have, and I will be what you lack." The beauty of grace is that it fills the gaps. It meets you not when you're at your best, but when you're at your lowest. It doesn't demand performance. It doesn't require composure. It embraces the mess. It cradles the broken. It floods the cracks in your heart with light, even when you feel too weary to lift your head. The world may not understand it. The people around you might not notice it. But God sees every tiny act of faith you choose. Every time you get up when you'd rather stay down. Every time you pray when you feel unheard. Every time you choose hope when everything seems hopeless. He sees it, and He honors it. There is a promise that still stands even when everything else seems to fall apart. That promise is not tied to how well you perform, how strong you appear, or how loudly you believe. It is tied to who God is. He is not a man that He should lie. He is not fickle with His love or forgetful with His children. What He has spoken over your life still stands. Even now, even here, even when it doesn't feel like it. His word is not bound by your feelings. His plans are not threatened by your weariness. He does not fold under pressure. He holds steady even when you can't. So breathe. Let your soul inhale peace. You don't need to figure it all out today. You don't need to see the whole path. Sometimes the miracle is in making it through this hour. Sometimes the testimony is simply, "Son didn't quit." Let that be enough. Let yourself be enough. God is not disappointed in your tiredness. He is proud of your perseverance. He delights in your choice to stay close, to keep leaning in, to keep hoping when hope feels thin. You may not feel strong, but strength is not about the absence of weakness. It's about what you do in the presence of it. You have survived seasons you thought would destroy you. You've walked through fires that scorched your plans but not your faith. You've lost things you thought you couldn't live without, and yet here you are, still breathing, still standing, still believing. You may be bruised, but you are not broken. You may be exhausted, but you are not empty. Within you is a flame that refuses to be snuffed out, a divine spark that no storm can extinguish. It burns quietly, but it burns surely. And even now, when everything feels uncertain, when the ground beneath you seems to shift with every step, you are grounded in something deeper, something eternal. You are rooted in the love of a God who does not change, whose faithfulness is not fragile, who does not grow tired of carrying you. He walks with you in the silence, in the mundane, in the waiting. He is the whisper when you feel invisible. He is the stillness when you crave answers. He is the hand that holds yours when the path feels too dark to navigate alone. You may not feel the progress, but transformation is happening quietly, gently. The tired version of you is still growing, still being shaped. Every act of perseverance is a seed. Every moment of obedience is an offering. And one day, the very struggle you hate will become the strength you carry. The very weariness you curse will become the well of compassion you draw from to heal others. Nothing will be wasted, not even this.